Welcome to B2B Tech Talk, Ingram Micro's destination for information on technology, business, and the people that make them run. This episode is sponsored by Xvantage, Ingram Micro's game changing platform designed to help your business run better and grow faster. On today's episode of B2B Tech Talk, we are in for a real treat. Ingram Micro's Karl Connolly is going to educate us on today's hottest technologies, including solutions like SIM to Cloud, 5G, and the new MXD and Ingram Micro partnership. Karl, welcome to B2B Tech Talk.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, so just so the audience knows, whenever I have a technology question or a solution that I'm trying to talk about with another partner, I always go to this guy here, Karl Connolly, because he's always on the edge, leading edge of technology
The
solutions.
bleeding edge, that's
Ye-
me.
Yep, yep. But a couple of technologies that I want to talk to you today. One is SIM to Cloud.
Yes.
And I don't know if people fully understand what SIM to Cloud is. So maybe we can start there and then we can talk about what solutions that Ingram is offering.
Great. So, SIM to Cloud, first and foremost, is not a technology per se, it's actually a framework.
Okay.
And the reason we built this, Nina, is because 5G has been available to our partners since 2018. But to be perfectly honest, it's been a bit of a slow uptake. And the reason is that many of our partners are just focused on the day to day, and 5G heretofore has been very much a locked system, and I'll explain that. So let's start with the framework, what SIM to Cloud actually means. It's essentially a way that we can marry an Ingram partner with enterprise expertise with their business and the use cases that they're very well aware of from their end customers with a mobile network operator. So at Ingram, we have several mobile network operators as partners who have expertise in the cellular domain. So bringing those partners together makes perfect sense. So what Ingram does is we facilitate that union, we help with the use cases, and then we evaluate the various spectrum. In 5G, there are multiple different spectrums. So we're always looking to see what is the right use case, what's the right spectrum. Should it be public, private, or hybrid? And then where Ingram's strength really comes to bear is, of course, we have that portfolio, a massive portfolio that we can help the partner with taking advantage of all of the opportunities that 5G brings. Because 5G, while it is a spectrum, it brings a lot of tangential drag for the customers. So 5G is really a catalyst. And the framework is designed to help the partner really bring to bear their full complement of their capabilities and their services in the context of a 5G engagement.
So why do you think partners have not jumped on the bandwagon so quickly? What's the reticence? What's keeping them from moving
That
forward?
is a great question. And I'll tell you what it is. Before 5G, Nina, 5G was very much a locked ecosystem. And by that, I mean, if you wanted to employ a 5G network in a private setting, you would go to Huawei, Ericsson, or Nokia, and you would get their equipment. While it's excellent equipment, it's somewhat a limited a set of ecosystem. 5G is not only made up of three different bands of spectrum, low band, mid band, and high band, but what's different about 5G architecturally is that it's actually designed as a software construct. So all of the network functions that make up 5G are now designed as a service based architecture,
Oh, okay.
essentially a software product,
Right.
which means that you can now run those software containers, elements, on commodity hardware. So that means partners can now take advantage of some of the publicly available spectrum, our relationships with the mobile network operators to employ 5G in ways that heretofore just weren't possible.
Interesting. So it is primarily a lack of awareness, really. It sounds to me of what the potential is.
Yeah, I think to be honest with you, prior to 5G, all of the other Gs were really the mobile network operators' domain. And they have the expertise to deploy those networks, and partners really didn't have any avenue into it. But now, as I say, with the advent of 5G and this services based architecture, and a whole slew of solutions aimed at partners from HP, Dell, Microsoft, AWS, and others, it's really opened up. And
Yeah.
so now partners heretofore haven't invested in that because it wasn't an area that they would be able to engage or monetize, but now they can.
So, who are the players in this market?
Oh God, there's players coming out of the woodwork all the time, right? So as I said, 5G really has opened up the market to innovation.
Right.
There's of course the traditional mobile network operators, which are our
Mhm.
partners,
Right.
T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, which are great. Then there are other specialty partners that are taking advantage of a specific band of spectrum called CBRS.
Okay.
So I'll just explain that for the audience. 5G is essentially made up of three different and distinct bands of
Mhm.
spectrum. There's low band, which is great at coverage. The bands are wide apart, so you can send a signal over 5G very, very far. Then there's the mid band, and the mid band is really deemed to be the Goldilocks band because it's just right. It's the right set of capacity, coverage, and distance and propagation. And then there's the high band, which is often called the millimeter band. So you've got those three different distinct bands of spectrum that are licensed from the mobile
Mhm.
network operators. That is to say, they've invested in that spectrum, paid a lot of money for that spectrum. Now, here in the US, Nina, the US government has had a specific band of spectrum called CBRS, Citizen Band Radio Service. That's 3.5 to 3.7 gigahertz. That's right in the middle almost of that mid band.
Sure.
And the government said, we have all this spectrum, but we're not using it. Why don't we set it out, make it available to enterprises to use such that they can collaborate and use this spectrum to offer to their customers as private 5G? And so this has really driven or been a catalyst, this release, for OEMs like HPE, Dell, and others to offer customers CBRS solutions that are essentially 5G compliant.
So, how do they get involved? If a partner wanted to get engaged with this, how do they do it? Do they want 1-800 CBRS? What do they do?
It's another great question. So yes, the CBRS spectrum is semi-licensed,
Okay.
right? So they have a couple of options. If a partner has the wherewithal and has the in-house expertise, they can go and they can build a 5G kit in a box, essentially. The network, the compute, they can get the core network services. They can go to a couple of providers in the US that are responsible for the license allocation, and they would register that
Mhm.
license for the customer. Typically, it's a 10-year license for 10 megahertz of spectrum for use. Now, as an alternative, Nina, we realize that many of our partners would like to consume this as a service,
Right.
right, and go to a capable provider. And we found one of the capable providers when we were building out our SIM to cloud framework. We wanted to give our partners options and give them expertise to leverage. And one of those companies is called Betacom.
Mhm.
And what Betacom offers using that CBRS spectrum is 5G as a service. So essentially a turnkey service. Betacom will come in conjunction with the partner, evaluate the customer's environment, assess, then design, build, manage, monitor on behalf of the partner and the customer that entire service.
Wow. Again, why isn't everybody running, standing in line? I want more of this.
Well, they will. It's just a matter of time. And to be perfectly honest with you, the last 5 years or so have been periods of
Yeah.
experimentation.
Sure. Yeah.
But slowly but surely, enterprises are realizing that 5G is a very uh, attainable
Yep.
solution. There are certain use cases that are now coming out with machine learning and AI and edge that really need low latency, high bandwidth wireless. And that's not capable over Wi Fi. And so when you think about wireless, you really have two options. You have Wi Fi, which is perfectly good in a lot of use cases, or you have an alternative now, which is cellular, which invariably could be cellular from the mobile network operator or cellular from a partner like Betacom, which is CBRS.
So, let's go with the vertical markets.
Yeah.
Let's start with manufacturing.
Hmm.
MXD kind of is a buzzword marketecture right now, but what are we doing to help support that market? Because as I think about it, in warehouses and in healthcare, for example, you've
Yeah.
got thick walls, thick concrete walls, right?
Lots
That
of impediments.
yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what are we doing in those spaces?
Okay, so you mentioned MXD. Let's just explain what MXD is. MXD is a organization that is based in Chicago that really stands for Manufacturing Meets
Yeah.
Digital. And MXD is a member-only organization, in part funded by the U.S. government, that brings together business and technology decision makers and customers who are members who really want to understand how they can employ digital technology to drive efficiency and innovation in manufacturing, really focused on bringing manufacturing back to the US and helping it
Mhm.
thrive. So, the facility in Chicago is an amazing space. It essentially looks like a big factory. One half of the entire building is dedicated to exhibition
Mhm.
space, and I'll explain what we're doing now with some partners there in a second. The other half of the facility is there for the staff. And the staff really get involved in things like incubation, helping young companies stand up and help them with their go to market. And then the facility also hosts about 50 events a year. So there's a big amphitheater there where members come in and members bring guests. They get guest speakers, they learn about what's new and what's exciting. MXD is really focused on five things: digitalization, supply chain optimization, cybersecurity, um, and workers of the future,
Right.
right? So helping them embrace new technologies. So when we identified Betacom, one of those
Okay.
5G as a service providers, as a partner, Betacom came to us and said, "We have a membership at MXD. Would Ingram be interested in participating in this space?" So I went to leadership and I explained, built a business case, and they agreed. So we have partnered with Google and we partnered with Betacom to essentially build the factory of the future at MXD, showcasing 5G as a
Fascinating.
service. And we have a whole slew of our ecosystem partners who have piled in to help us deliver amazing use cases leveraging 5G.
Carl,
Very innovative stuff, right?
that is bleeding
It is
edge.
bleeding edge, right? So manufacturers, much like other verticals, are struggling with similar
Yeah.
things. They need to be more efficient. They have staffing
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
They need to be more competitive. And they really need to employ technologies that can drive efficiencies and help them scale.
Yeah.
And that's what we've done at MXD. We've defined a whole bunch of different use cases around industrial manufacturing, worker of the future, supply chain optimization, perimeter security, AI and machine learning, computer vision, to interrogate product and production line to deliver optimization, performance, and also do something for the environment. Sustainability is a big ticket item for us, right? We're trying to
Yes.
eliminate waste, reduce the carbon footprint, and put technology to work,
Yes.
leveraging 5G.
Yeah.
So it's really an amazing partnership that we have there and a great facility that the listeners should check out.
Well, when is there going to be some sort of grand opening of what we're going to be able to see? Ingram's footprint there?
Absolutely. So we've entered into an agreement at MXD with Betacom and Google for a year. So
Okay.
this isn't like a traditional trade show that's going to disappear over the
Right.
weekend. We're launching on October 12th. That's
Okay.
our official launch. And if folks want to go and visit the facility, it's invite only. So I would say
Okay.
reach out to your Ingram Micro partner manager, who will
Okay.
ultimately ferry back a request to me or someone else, and we can get you to visit. But it's very, very exciting. This is definitely bleeding edge stuff, but this is the future, and the future is now.
Carl, I'm raising my hand. I'd like to be there.
Absolutely. You're more than welcome.
Thank you. So now I want to go to healthcare.
Yeah.
We're doing amazing things in the world of healthcare, but there's one project in particular and one partner in particular that I wanted to talk about, and that's Pixel Health.
Yeah.
And maybe you can talk a little bit about what's going on with Pixel Health and their customer, Boston Children's Healthcare, as well as T-Mobile being involved from a 5G perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, that's quite a feat. But also, you talked about this, Ingram kind of pulling things together.
Yeah.
We are true ecosystem orchestrators.
You nailed it, Nina. I described earlier the SIM to cloud
Yeah.
strategy. This at Boston Children's Hospital, from my perspective, is the embodiment of that framework.
Yes.
We essentially have a consulting partner that is Pixel Health. They're focused on healthcare exclusively. They have a great relationship with the C-suite, the decision makers
Mhm.
at these hospitals that they support. So they're boots on the ground. They understand what the challenges are. They understand the use cases, and more importantly, they understand how to talk to healthcare. Healthcare, understanding the psychology of the buyer in healthcare is very different from enterprise or public sector or anything like that. Now, on the flip side, Boston Children's were employing Epic,
Mhm.
centralizing their electronics medical records, and they realized very quickly to cover 3 million square feet in wireless connectivity over the existing Wi-Fi just wouldn't
Yeah.
suffice. It wouldn't cut it. And so we married actually at Ingram One last year, T-Mobile and Pixel Health together through this SIM to Cloud framework. And therefore, when Pixel were having their engagements with Heather, the CIO, and listening to her challenges and letting it resonate, they said, you know what? This is an opportunity to bring in T-Mobile. And T-Mobile offer customers private 5G using their amazing spectrum resources. And they have the expertise to assess, deploy, manage this for the customer. That's what customers want today. They don't want to be burdened with the technology or the management of this technology. And more importantly, from a healthcare perspective, with budgets being so tight, they're looking for OPEX models. So this entire engagement with Pixel Health Consulting, leading the way, consulting with T-Mobile, articulating the value prop and the value to not only the IT departments, but the technology and the business decision makers, was a home run, a win. So much so, Nina, that these healthcare CIOs, they all have a network, right? So when Heather's network realized what Boston Children's had done and how they solved the problem of communication and collaboration, reliable, secure connectivity across 3 million square feet with 5G, bleeding edge, wireless communications, they're very excited. And in essence, we together, Ingram, being sort of the integrator, if you will, not only of systems, but of relationships, have tied Pixel with T-Mobile, and we now have templatized this approach such that we can roll this out to other healthcare organizations and hospitals that are facing the same challenge.
So, beyond the technology, to me, the most important thing that I hear from you
Yeah,
is that patient health care is going to be enhanced and improved because of the ability to get information faster, frictionless, right? Without having to think,
yeah.
am I in a good am I in a good space in the building?
That's right. That's right. It's a big challenge for the doctors and the nurses today.
Yeah.
Collaboration and communication in real time, being able to get data on a patient
Yeah.
quickly.
Yes.
And from your job, like we
Yes.
all get frustrated if we can't get our data or information, or if we wait, or a spinning wheel of death, how frustrating that
Yes.
is. And as humans, we're obviously going to project that. And unfortunately, when you're giving care and you're in a bad mood and you're not able to focus on the patient because you've got a device that won't connect, that's a very frustrating experience for a clinician. Now with this 5G connectivity that's basically ubiquitous across not only the campus, but also enabling roaming for the
Mhm, mhm.
doctors, nurses, doctors, clinicians are able to spend more time face to face with the patient. And that is worth its weight in gold, right? So as you said, there are a lot of economic benefits to a customer or a partner to do this, but at the end of it, it's business outcomes that we're trying to
Yes.
effectuate. And in healthcare, business outcomes are patient outcomes.
Yes. Absolutely. As I mentioned, if anybody wants to know about bleeding edge technologies, Karl Connolly is the man you want to talk to. Karl, it has been such a pleasure to have you on the show today and to teach us so much about these technologies and how Ingram Micro is functioning as the orchestrator, bringing all these great partnerships together to create better business outcomes. Thank you so much.
Thanks a million, Nina. Lovely to be here.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode and you want to continue the conversation online, use hashtag B2B Tech Talk.